So I was born in 1972 in Dayton, Ohio. My parents raised 5 children, and I was right in the middle. I was 2 older and 2 younger than me. My parents were from the Pittsburgh area, and my dad was in the restaurant business. Kind of like if you ever saw that movie, What's Eating Gilbert Grape, where Burger Barn comes to town and everybody wants to go work for Burger Barn. There was a company called Burger Chef that was moving into the small town that my parents lived in, and my dad was a mechanic and had never been in the restaurant business before. And he said, I think I'm going to go do this. I've got a family to raise. And he applied and they hired him. And then he was in the restaurant industry for the rest of his life. His last position was a franchise owner for Wendy's, which he retired from a few years ago. And my mom was in the daycare business. She owned a handful of preschools, the last of which was Countryside Preschool in Crystal River, Florida. So if you have any kids in Crystal River, Florida, somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 years old or younger, they probably went to my mom's preschool. And so I grew up in the middle of 5 children, and we moved around a lot when I was younger. Ohio, West Virginia, North Carolina, before finally ending up in Florida in Palm Harbor in 1982. And lived in Palm Harbor for about 4 years. I really loved it as a kid then, early 80s. But then my parents moved to Crystal River, Florida, which at that time was a very small town. So it was kind of culture shock for me to move there, and, one traffic light and a McDonald's and not much else. And but I consider Crystal River to be my hometown. It's where I went to middle school, went to high school. The bulk of my family still lives there to this day, very ingrained in the community there. But I couldn't wait to get out of there. And I left there in 1995 and moved here to Saint Petersburg, Florida. And after being here for 25 years, I really see the benefit of both places, like living in a city as well as that kind of small town feel. There's times when I go back to Crystal River now and I'm like, oh wow, this is really great here. I understand why people love this. But then I come back here to St. Petersburg and I love it here, and I see why people would want to be here. And I think in our real estate business, that's kind of served me well, because when we do have those clients that come to us and say, hey, listen, I want to buy a house in Hernando County or in Parrish or one of these places that's a little bit smaller, we can get out there with them and understand what that's like. And then when our clients come to us and they would say, hey, I want to buy a house, condo in downtown St. Petersburg, we know exactly what that is like too.